This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different from the G.I. Joe line. This is, of course, the Baroness. I think everybody probably recognizes her. But you know, the box and the artwork looks a little bit different than what we normally see from Hasbro. And the reason for that is that this figure comes from Hiya toys. It also has a warning on the front for the small parts. But this has been kind of a unique thing. I did not know these existed until I had seen it when I was looking for something on eBay. And I found these. And these are apparently officially licensed by Hasbro. However, while you can order stuff directly from Hiya Toys, they will not ship these to the United States. It would seem that these are licensed for delivery to the rest of the world, but not the US. The only way that I've seen to be able to pick them up is by eBay, or occasionally they show up on Amazon, because everything shows up on Amazon. It was also, I think I paid about $40 for this figure. And if we look at the back of the box here, we don't get a whole lot of additional information, right? There's no file card for her or anything like that. What we do get is this Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale toys, featuring super articulation action figures from Hiya Toys. That is some pretty awful English. And it's produced by Hiya Toys Company Limited in China. And their website is mentioned there, the product name, all that fun stuff. They've got, I think, around, when I looked, I think around 10 or 12 Joes. And I believe that Lady J and maybe Scarlet were being worked on or being offered for pre-order at the time that I originally looked at this. It's been a few weeks since I got this figure in. But it is kind of weird that they don't ship directly to the US, just because Hasbro doesn't currently have a line of G.I. Joe figures this size. I mean, maybe they're afraid it'll cut into their classified series, but more people, I think, are asking for O-rings than for like the super articulated 4-inch line again, which is a shame because I actually liked the G.I. Joe super articulated 4-inch line overall. I guess if there's one thing G.I. Joe the movie brought to us, it was that standard, maybe. Anyway, let's go ahead and open her up and take a look at her. Alright, so first thing I want to point out here is that she does look like she's designed after the first G.I. Joe classified figure that was released, because it looks like they used a lot of the same styling on her, so that's pretty cool. While her glasses are part of her face sculpt and painted on, whoops, when you angle her just right, you'll know there's no lens or anything in there. It just looks like she's got like the frames. So that was kind of an interesting choice, and it does look pretty good overall. She comes with 2 pieces of hair. They also have this like kind of pink tinge at the bottom, and the second hair is just a little bit wavier. There you can kind of see the rest of her head. She looks like something from a movie like this. I mean, like, there's somebody specific I'm thinking of right now, and I can't put my finger on it. If you guys can figure out what I'm talking about, please make a comment below. Without the hair, though, her head does look really tiny.
Quick note, too, is that I noticed that her left eye, the eyeshadow's all messed up on this figure.
But this gives us a slightly wind-swept look to her hair. You know, we got some nice detailing here. There's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's some additional pink. Actually, it kind of matches her hair color, to be honest, on her boots. She does not have high heels. Now, this said it was super articulated, so let's take a look at the articulation, shall we? And then we'll look at the accessories. So the head definitely is on a ball joint. We can look down and up over and sideways, turn the head. The hair does kind of interfere, and we still have the windswept hair on here. Let's actually swap out to the regular hair. Not sure I had that in right, to be honest. So we can still look down. Can't really look up with that hair. Sideways a little bit, about the same as the previous one, or the other hair, I should say. Her arms. The shoulder pauldron here does appear to be a separate piece that's glued in place. It does restrict the upward momentum of the arm, so you can only really raise her arm that far. But we can spin it all around still. And we can get it to angle out a little bit further when we have the shoulder piece towards the back. Not a lot though. There is a single joint here at the elbow. We just get a hinge up and down and some spin there. I would say she does not actually really get a full 90 degrees with that turn. She comes with gripping hands in place, which we can spin and we can wiggle back and forth. Honestly, it feels like it's a ball joint inside the wrist. So we get that kind of movement. She does have a boob cut, so we can spin around at the top and wiggle her. Again, the hair and actually the knife at her back kind of interferes a bit with that. There is also a separate waist joint that we can spin around also, probably a ball joint in there. Her legs can kick pretty far out. It looks like the guns in her holsters are possibly interfering with that, so let's go ahead and pull one out. Okay. It does interfere a little bit. And I just popped her kneecap off. That's not good. Dang it. I'm not sure I can get that back on without like tweezers or something. That's not good. I don't like that. All right, so the knee joint here is a double knee. The amount back that it goes, though, is interfered with by the holsters on her thighs, because you can move that leg all the way back on that joint, but only that far back like that. Or if you bend the top part of the knee, you still only get about the same amount of distance. It's just different. We have a thigh cut. We have an ankle swivel here, or a rocker hinge, up and down. It does not appear as if it's designed, though, to spin, so it might actually be a true hinge in there and not actually a peg also. So actually, she is not that much more, well, okay, the way... So when we get down to it, let's say Masters of the Universe Origins, the boob cut and the double jointed knee is pretty much the only difference in articulation from those. So I'm not sure I would call this super articulated. There we go. I think I got her kneecap back in place properly. Still looks a bit off to me. I wonder if I have it upside down. Dang it. We'll forget about it for now. Again. Alright, so her hands here are designed for gripping, but they don't have a trigger finger. So we got a knife. Again, this knife does appear to be designed to look like the one that she came with in the G.I. Joe Classified series, the first release. I'm actually almost afraid to try to put the knife in this hand, to be perfectly honest, because it feels like something's going to break. But there. Okay, so we can have her hold the knife. Her other hands, though, that she came with do have a trigger finger. That's going to be really fun with this size, I think. I will say the knife goes in that sheath really well. I will swap out one of the hands. Yep, there we go. It's a little ball joint. I don't know how well that's going to appear on here. That is tiny, though. I would definitely be afraid of breaking that one. I feel like this is going to be like near impossible to try to get the trigger finger in the trigger. So there she is holding the pistol, got the trigger finger in place. Kind of. Mostly. Her Uzi does have a removable suppressor. And that handle on that Uzi, that is a lot thicker than what's on the pistols. If you look at this, I don't know how well you can see that comparison, but yeah. It's almost twice as thick, maybe even 3 times. Oh my gosh. I think it is safe to say that her hands are not designed to hold this weapon at all. We'll give it one more try. Yeah, no. I am saying I'm giving it right here. It is she cannot hold on to this. That handle is too thick for her hands. We also get the stand, and it would appear that we have these little eye bars here for it, so that if we have multiple figures, we can connect the stands together. Since I do not have multiple figures, we will not be doing that. Also looks like it's my pet peeve with stands. There is only one peg. And just looking at these peg holes, which again, I don't know how well you can see them. The one over here definitely looks small. That one looks clean, but this one to me kind of looks like it's not well done. But we can get her to stand in the stand. Stand in the stand. So, my overall on this one, I am not happy that the knee joint popped out or the kneecap popped off. That probably needs to be glued in place. I think the lack of an ankle rocker or spin down there kind of affects the posability a little bit. Because you can already kind of see just having her stand there kind of with her legs spread a little bit for balance. The foot is tilted there on the stand. The sand looks nice. I do like that they gave it kind of like a textured here, so it kind of looks like maybe they're in a desert or on some broken up asphalt. Kind of looks like there's also cases from previously shot ammo. I like the extra coloring in her hair. The knife looks good, but it feels like it's possibly going to break when you try to put it in her fingers or in hands too much. I think it's interesting that with G.I. Joe, our gripping hands are the trigger hands. So, with classified series, so it's always like that. So I thought that was interesting that they just give us a standard gripping hand for the knife. Two of them, in fact. I like the look of the Uzi better than the pistols, but again, that handle for it is way too thick for her to hold. Like you can get her to kind of hold the clip, and that's it. I don't know if the slightly wind swept hair is really. I guess it also has a slightly different part too, but also I'm just gonna say I am having all sorts of problems trying to get that to fully fit into that space. There we go. Well, generally speaking, I actually kind of like the windswept hair look. I'm not really a big fan of it with this figure. And I think the part looks better on her regular hair. I mean, they're close, but not quite the same. So is this figure worth the amount I paid for it? You know what? Probably not. I don't know if I would get any of the other ones unless they make specific figures that I really like. But she's just kind of okay. If she was being sold for, 15 to 20 bucks, then yeah, fine, it'd be great. But for 40, nah, not quite so much. But as always, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. I do. I guess I will say this though. I think the face sculpt on here is actually really well done. Even the sculpting on this figure is actually really, really nice. It's just the overall, it just didn't work out very well, you know? But if you enjoyed this look at our Hiya Toys version of the Baroness, please feel free to hiss that like button. Cobra! And if you want to hear more of my nonsense, please feel free to subscribe. I thank you for watching. Peace and love. What we do get is this exquisite mini, exquisite, oh, exquisite, exquisite,